This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Fellas, what if I told you there was a way you could increase your performance in the bedroom? You could get that extra confidence to please your lady friend. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Blue Chew is the fast and easy solution for any man looking to enhance their performance and step up their game. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. Why not be the MVP of the bedroom? You know that there's opportunity to enhance your experience, enhance the pleasure. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code DETROIT. All you got to do is just pay the $5 shipping and handling fee. That's BlueChew.com, promo code DETROIT. BLUE Chew.com. BlueChew.com, promo code Detroit to try it free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the podcast.
It's a new football season. Familiar names like Antonio Brown, he's changed teams, he's on the Raiders. Le'Veon Bell's with the New York Jets. Odell Beckham Jr.'s in Cleveland. However, the one thing that hasn't changed is where I put my money when I bet on games. MyBookie.ag is the place to bet on the biggest games every single week. MyBookie.ag has better bonuses and more prop bets than any other sportsbook, period. This year, they're even hosting the first online handicapping super contest. First place is guaranteed to win $100,000, and it only costs $100 to enter. All you have to do is pick 5 games against the spread every week, climb the leaderboard, and cash in your share of the huge prize pool. MyBookie.ag has live in-game betting on every NFL game. They also have the most rewarding player perks in the business. And for you fantasy guys out there, you can even bet the over-under on how many fantasy points a player will score in each game. When you sign up at MyBookie.ag, they'll match up to $1,000 for your first deposit with promo code Detroit100. Visit MyBookie.ag today. That's MyBookie.ag and use promo code Detroit100. That's DETROIT100 to get up to $1,000 in bonus money. MyBookie.ag is always the right play. You bet, you win, they pay.
Welcome in on a Wednesday. Welcome back to Wanna Bet with Detroit Sports Podcast. I am your host, Shea Norling. We are back. It is football season, people. It is college football week 1. It's not week 0. It's not that bullshit weird preseason where you get one good game on the weekend and the rest is teams like Hawaii. It's not week 0, folks. It's week 1. Real live football is back, and I am with you all season, giving you every pick that I'm making, every bet that I make, you will be in on. Let's make some money together this football season. You guys know the drill. Today, I want to go through the picks that I'm making in week 1. These shows, they're not going to be super long. It's not going to be some in-depth football talk, super serious stuff. I'm giving you the picks. I'm giving them to you quick, fast, in a hurry. Get in, get out, make some money. That's the whole point of Wanna Bet. The whole point of Wanna Bet is to get in here, enjoy me talking. I'm not going to give you some crazy stats and numbers. I'm not going to go all in-depth, crazy football talk. All I want you to do is go to MyBookie, use that promo code DSP so you can get that 50% bonus. I want you to listen every week. I want you to ride the picks with me. I want you to do what we do. And if you want to keep up live with any of the live betting odds, with any of those options, you can do that right on Twitter, where I will keep you in the loop at Norling Shea on Twitter. So please get involved. Let's do this together. I'm going to start first, though, with who I believe to be the 4 teams in college football that will represent the college football playoff at the end of the season. And then I'm going to get into my picks for week 1. The college football playoff. It's not always the top 4 teams, but it's the 4 most deserving teams. Is it always the 4 best teams in the country? It's not. It's not. Occasionally, it's the 4 most deserving teams. For example, well, occasionally it's the 4 best as well. My example would be when Penn State was the more deserving team after winning the Big Ten, and yet Ohio State went anyways. Ohio State was the better team. That doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen that you win the conference and go. In fact, no Big Ten champion has gone to the college football playoff since Michigan State did it in 2015. However, 2019 is the year I think that all changes. I think the Big Ten champion is going to go to the college football playoff, and I think the Big Ten champion is the team in the Big Ten that I hate the absolute most. That's right, it's Michigan. Now, I don't think they're going to be the number 4 seed in the college football playoff. I don't. I think they're going to be the number 3 seed. Even though I think they're probably going to deserve that 4 seed, I think they'll be the 3 seed. And the reason I think that is because TV schedules are the way that they are so that the NCAA can make as much money as possible. Plain and simple. I think Michigan gets the 3. I think Oklahoma gets the 4. The reason I think that is because Alabama and Clemson round out the top 2. Not breaking news there, folks. Alabama and Clemson are playing a different sport. As long as they continue to recruit upwards of 15 to 17 first NFL draft picks, these teams have 15 to 20 NFL players on their team. Nobody's competing with that every single year. As long as these guys, these Alabama and Clemson, continue to participate in what is basically a different sport, what Jim Harbaugh called the cheating in the SEC, as long as they continue to recruit at this level where they're basically playing an entirely different game because they have such different players that can do different things. They can run NFL schemes. They're smart enough to pick up on these different types of plays that other schools won't call, won't draw up. They won't even scheme the style of offense. When you look at these teams, they're doing things other schools can't. It's not breaking news. Alabama and Clemson are the 2 best teams in the country. As long as they continue to recruit the way that they do, as long as they continue to pay Nick Saban out the ass, and as long as they continue to pay Dabo Swinney up the ass, they will be the 2 best teams in college football. They're playing a different sport. If the rest of the college football universe is playing college football, Alabama and Clemson are playing minor league NFL football. Whatever the NFL equivalent to the G League is, that's Alabama and Clemson. I know it's college football in a whole, but holy shit, it's basically an NFL pipeline when you go and look at Tuscaloosa and you go and you look at Clemson, South Carolina. It is absolutely a pipeline to the NFL. They're playing a different game. I think Michigan gets number 3 because I think Oklahoma gets number 4 because I think the NCAA in the semifinal will not be able to resist Tua versus Jalen Hurts in the semifinal. A little revenge action for Jalen Hurts trying to do what Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray couldn't and get Oklahoma to the championship, the national championship game. I think that's your college football playoff at the end of the season. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Michigan. And number 4, Oklahoma. And that is what you're looking at for the college football playoff. The other thing I kind of want to jump into just quickly before I get into the rest of this is Andrew Luck retiring didn't just hurt the Colts Super Bowl odds. It hurt one of the bigger prop bets of the season. It's a player prop. I would have given you, had I given you, and I was planning on giving you this, had I given you the regular season MVP odds, I would have said there was tremendous value in Andrew Luck. A year ago, he finished right on the outside looking in, and I would have told you Andrew Luck had tremendous value this year because I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to regress. It's not often in the NFL that you get a repeat MVP, and I'm looking at the odds right now. I'm looking at where I think the best value is, and I'll tell you what, Russell Wilson at plus 2,500 seems like a very nice pick. I'll tell you who else I like. Baker Mayfield at plus 1,200. I think Tom Brady at plus 1,200 is extremely bad odds. I would think Tom Brady should be in the plus 3,000 range. I don't think with that offense that Tom Brady's going to win MVP. I think the weapons around him will have to do it. I think they're going to be so run heavy, he's going to take himself out of it. I do think Aaron Rodgers at plus 1,200 is good value. I think Drew Brees at plus 1,200 is terrible value. At the end of every season, Drew Brees falls apart. If I'm looking right now, and I think the MVP field, now that Andrew Luck went down, the biggest value bet there was is a lot more wide open. There's a lot more guys who I look at and I think have some opportunity to shine here. One of them, who I think is probably the highest value bet that you could get, is Alvin Kamara. Without Mark Ingram to cut into his carries, with Drew Brees, Father Time's catching up a little bit more, he's going to have to rely on his safety valve Kamara in the backfield. I do kind of think at plus 5,000, it's worth taking a look at. If you want to get a high-value season-long pick, I think Alvin Kamara, who's going to be featured heavily in this offense, obviously, but without Mark Ingram to cut into his carries, there's not a whole lot of other options for the Saints to go with. I think you look at Alvin Kamara this season, he's a shoo-in for value in MVP. It's not often running backs win MVP. It's been a quarterback-dominated award. If there were ever a year for that to change, I think this could be it, where you look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, who comes in with the fifth best odds as a quarterback. Carson Wentz, I think at plus 800, there's good value there. I think Patrick Mahomes at plus 500 is priced appropriately. My only thing is, again, I think he regresses. This isn't an award that gets won back-to-back years by the same player. I know Mahomes just had a mercurial debut season as a sophomore player. I think he has to regress. He can't repeat that performance. He can't do better than that performance. This guy set records. It doesn't happen again. And you look at when Tom Brady won MVPs, he never did it in successive years. Aaron Rodgers only has the one. Peyton Manning never did it in successive years. It doesn't happen. I think Carson Wentz with that roster at plus 800, it's good odds. Baker Mayfield with plus 1,200, it's decent value. But again, these are quarterbacks who, do you trust Carson Wentz to stay healthy the entire year and to play high-level football for 16 games? That's what you have to bank that on. Do you trust the Browns to really have it all together early and Baker Mayfield to come out showing out? That's what you have to bank that on. That's where that level of value comes in. And so I would offer you that the best value pick for most valuable player in this season, I would offer you the best value pick is Alvin Kamara at plus 5,000. That's the route that I'm going to take for the most valuable player award. I know it never goes to a running back, but again, if there were any year for this to happen, this is it. This is the one. And that's where I look at Alvin Kamara, I look at that Saints offense, and I look at how heavily they're going to have to rely on him. Now, I don't trust the Saints a whole lot. I do not trust the Saints to be good. I think every single year there is a team in the NFL that just barely misses out on the Super Bowl, and every single year they're bad the following year. Look at Jacksonville a year ago. I think the Saints and the Rams are prime candidates, but I think the Rams are a lot more likely to fall off because of the health of Todd Gurley, because of the relative skill and intelligence of Jared Goff. I think when you look at Alvin Kamara, that's where the Saints offense will have to run through. And if they're going to win that division, if they're going to have another good year, if they're going to get back to the playoffs, it's going to be through Alvin Kamara. He's going to put up numbers for this team, being featured as heavily as he will. That's my highest value pick for MVP now that Andrew Luck is out of the picture. With that, let's get some music going. Let's get some picks fired up for college football week 1. Let's go. Doesn't that sound good? It's college football season, baby. We are going all out for the picks this year. I'm giving you every single game that I will be betting, starting with Thursday, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Utah, BYU. Utah, a very, very popular college football playoff pick, a very popular pick to win the Pac-12. BYU, a sort of rival team. It's an in-state rivalry. It's a better-than-average mid-major team in BYU. The spread, 6 points for Utah. I'm taking BYU at home. I'm taking the BYU Cougars at home against Utah to cover that +6. I'm taking BYU in the points, and the reason is I think Utah, with all the expectations, with all the pressure on them, with this early season road trip to an in-state rival, I think they get tested. I think BYU is better than people think they are. I think Utah wins this game by 3 points, 3-5. The 6 points scare me. A touchdown spread always scares me a little bit. When you go on to Friday, we're going to start in East Lansing, Michigan State and Tulsa. Michigan State a 23-point favorite. I like the Spartans in this game to win. Obviously, I do. They're minus 2150 money line. Tulsa is not a great football team. Granted, last year they averaged, 100 yards rushing every time out? Guess what, Tulsa? You're playing the number 1 run defense in the country from a year ago. Returning starters on defense, guys like Joe Bacci, guys like Kenny Willekes, they stuff the run. D'Antonio stuffs the run. Tulsa, you're in for a long night. I don't know that Tulsa scores a point. I don't know that Michigan State scores 23. I'm going Tulsa plus 23 just because I'm not confident in Michigan State's offense to get the ball out, to get moving quickly. If that offensive line can stay upright, if Brian Lewerke doesn't have his shoulder fall off of his body mid-game, if Connor Hayward can find holes in the offensive line that they create for him, that's the important part. The offensive line has to create holes. If they don't, I don't think Michigan State scores a ton of points. I think they will struggle on offense again. I just think that's the way it's going to go. Wisconsin, South Florida, Friday night, 7 p.m. in South Florida. Wisconsin, a 12.5-point favorite, minus 475 on the money line. Guess who likes the USF Bulls to go plus 12.5 on Friday night? I do. Why? Because, again, Wisconsin and offense, they don't mix. Wisconsin going on the road to a hot South Florida. I don't love the fact that they're spending their first week out on the road in the heat. I like South Florida here, plus 12.5. Moving on to Saturday, Ohio State and Florida Atlantic. Ohio State leaving 27.5 points at home, hosting FAU. Bet it all the way. Ohio State minus 27.5 and Ryan Day's debut as head coach. It's Justin Fields' debut as quarterback. I think anytime you start to underrate Ohio, you start to sleep on Ohio State a little bit, you are underrating Ohio State. You are underappreciating Ohio State. I don't think the fall off is going to be as severe as a lot of people are predicting from Urban to Ryan Day. I think Ohio State hangs on, gets this thing done fairly easily. I'm looking at some more games on the slate. Got a ton to get to. Alabama and Duke, 3:30 p.m. SEC versus ACC showdown in Tuscaloosa. Alabama, a 33.5-point favorite. And guess what? I think Tua goes crazy. I think Alabama wins this game by 33.5 easily. I don't think Duke stands a chance. I know they've been better at football the past couple of years, but listen, you're going into the den. You are going into the absolute hell of the college football universe. Don't look for any Appalachian State, Michigan stuff here. Nick Saban has their number. Nick Saban has Duke matched. Alabama's going to have no problem. Tua is going to fly. Saturday night, 7:30 in Ann Arbor, Michigan versus Middle Tennessee State with a 34-point spread. Anytime I see spreads like this, I get a little nervous. The number is so big, but I love Michigan. I think Michigan's winning the Big Ten this year. Obviously, I hate the school. I love them in this game. I love them to win the Big Ten. I think they have the best roster on paper. I think any of the elite coaches, if Harbaugh wants to be among them, listen, they've all done it within 5 years. James Franklin did it. Urban Meyer did it. Mark D'Antonio did it. Jim Harbaugh is going to do it. They're winning the Big Ten this year, and they're beating the bitch out of Middle Tennessee State. I see Michigan winning this by 40+. They might hang 60 on them like they always do in September. The offense doesn't really fall apart until November when they have to play Ohio State. We all know the drill. All right, moving along for the rest of the weekend. Couple more games. Oregon, Auburn, 7:30 p.m. The highlight of the week. Oregon, a lot of people are picking to win the Pac-12, Auburn, always competitive in the SEC. Auburn laying 3.5 points at home to the visiting Ducks. I like the Oregon Ducks. I think the Ducks have a shot to win the Pac-12. I think the Ducks have a shot to go undefeated. I don't think they have a shot to get to the college football playoff because of the weakness of their conference, but I do think they have what it takes to go to Jordan-Hare, to take down Gus Malzahn's Auburn Tigers, to put Gus Malzahn on the hot seat. I'm taking Oregon plus 3.5 Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Those are the picks for week 1, and I will be back next week with a whole new slate, college and NFL. I am so excited to share the college football season with you. Welcome back to Wanna Bet on Detroit Sports Podcast.